Good morning, everyone. February 2nd, 2020. Eric. I'm here at Zero Hedge, and the article that we will cover, at least in part, is called How Government and Media Are Preparing America for a Failed 2020 Election. Now, I ask you, do you believe that Donald Trump is where he is by accident? Or are you like me and understand that when elections occur, these people are selected? No matter what side they're on, they are selected, and there was a reason Donald Trump was selected. Let me try to move my TV here. That way I'm not looking off to the side like an idiot. Yeah, that's a lot better. A lot better. All right. So, as World War II drew to a close in Europe, British philosopher Bertrand Russell wrote, in quotes, "Neither a man nor a crowd nor a nation can be trusted to act humanely or to think sanely under the influence of a great fear." So, basically, the selectors used Donald Trump as a pawn, perhaps, to create fear in our nation and divide a much deeper one than we had. They were partially successful and partially not. Through numerous examples in the post-World War II era, have proven Russell's point. And one of these examples is the public's willingness in the U.S. to swallow lie after lie about Saddam Hussein's Iraq due to the climate of fear that followed September 11 attacks. Those lies, propagated by dubious intelligence agencies, government officials, and a compliant media, resulted in catastrophes, large and small, abroad and at home. Today, an analogous narrative is being crafted by many of these same people, both in media and in government. Yet, it avoids scrutiny, even from independent media. See, my problem with individuals like Dave Hodges, Mike Adams, and I can just keep listing them, okay? My problem with these individuals is they are experiencing extreme cognitive dissonance of their own. For example, I watched a video on Common Sense Show by Dave Hodges talking about how China and Israel work together on a coronavirus. But in the very next breath, he uttered, "Oh, Israel had nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with what's going on." You know, I think probably Israel has a lot to do with a lot of things going on. And if they worked with the Chinese on this bioweapon, then probably they had a lot to do with this as well. But we're not here to talk about coronavirus. At least, not, deeply. I did that video already. It's been uploaded. Over the past several months, and with a renewed zeal in just a few weeks, anonymous intelligence officials, dubious experts, and establishment media outlets have crafted a narrative about the coming chaos of the 2020 election months before it takes place. You know, kind of like Bill Gates had a meeting, Event 201, where a few months later, couple months, a bioweapon was just happened to be released, and just coincidence, right? No conspiracy there. Per that narrative, certain state actors will use specific technologies to target the American mind, what's left of it, in order to undermine the coming presidential election. The narrative holds that those efforts will be so successful that the U.S. will never recover as a democracy. And you know what? I'm tired of hearing that. The U.S. is not a fucking democracy. It's not a republic. It may have been at one time, but what we actually have is a corporate dictatorship. That's what we actually have. See, my problem with these guys is they'll get you all riled up about the Democrats, they'll get you all riled up about gun confiscation, they'll get you all riled up and then try to sell you shit. They're exploiting the fear they create through their news. And it's not that I have a problem with the information. This is not my problem. Because, if the information is true, it should be out there. But, again, this is exploiting the fear created. Alright? Headlines such as hackers are coming for the 2020 election and we're not ready. Basically, every U.S. national security leader is warning about foreign interference in the 2020 election, and U.S. intel agencies, Russia and China, plotting to interfere in 2020 election. I mean, don't we, or doesn't our government go around the world interfering in people's fucking elections and politics? I think they have a long history of doing this and have overthrown many governments. Not that I, hold any reverence for these governments. I don't. But I don't hold any for our own either. Alright? These have become increasingly commonplace despite no available evidence, as have warnings that the American public is defenseless against the old scourge of fake news. Guys like me are fake news. Meanwhile, the major news networks out there have a very long history of lying to the public, but somehow I'm the liar. Somehow I'm the fake news. And I'm not even trying to be a news person. I'm just saying, I'm trying to be as honest as I can possibly be. Historically, the goal of such fear-inducing narratives has been the trading of civil liberties for increased security, or rather the appearance of this security. But you have no security. If it's not thugs, civilian thugs, you have to worry about, and they're much less of a worry than the government thugs. Because people are not delusioned regarding the civilian thugs. They know that, they should be defending themselves against these people, and will. But will the people defend themselves against the government? And I can easily make a case that over 90% of the people would not defend themselves against the government. But I digress. So there's no evidence that this is the case, okay? And this is the problem. Everybody makes these outlandish claims like this, that China or Russia are going to hack the elections, but they never want to prove it. You recall a video I did regarding Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu, where he used a drawing of a bomb as evidence. Yeah, that's their idea of evidence to the public. And the people who have crafted this narrative are from the intelligence community and other players in the national security state. What is particularly odd about this narrative surrounding imminent chaos and meddling in the upcoming 2020 elections is the fact that not only have the instruments of said meddling been named and described in detail, but their use in the election was recently simulated by a company with deep ties to both U.S. and Israeli intelligence. That simulation, organized and ran by the Israeli-American company Cybereason, ended with scores of Americans dead, the cancellation of the 2020 election, the imposition of martial law, and a spike in fear among the American populace. You heard that correct. You heard that correct. So, what do they know? They got to know something. All right. While the narrative in place has already laid the blame at the feet of U.S. rival states, China and Russia and Iran, these very technologies are instead dominated by companies that are tied to the very same intelligence agencies as Cybereason, specifically Israeli military intelligence. Keep in mind that they may have had hand in working with China on this bioweapon. Okay? Media intelligence foreshadow tech-powered doom for 2020. Even though the election is still months away, a plethora of media reports over the past 6 months, and even before, have been raising concern after concern about how the U.S. election is still so vulnerable to foreign meddling, that such meddling is essentially an inevitability. Like our meddling, or our government's meddling, right? Constantly meddling in everything. But for some reason, it's okay when your government does it, and not okay when another government does it. Just like, a Democrat and Republican, when Obama did, X, Y, or Z, the right, alt-right, and others freak the fuck out. And the supporters of that side, they didn't have a problem. But we flip-flop it. Now we have somebody in there, and now the left side is flipping out over the very same shit their president did, and the alt-right and right conservatives are ignoring, just like the left did while Obama was the president. Part of the reason for the recent pickup in fear-mongering appears to have been the release of a joint statement issued by key members of the Trump administration last November. That statement, authored by Attorney General Bill Barr, Defense Secretary Mark Esper, Acting DHS Secretary Kevin McLennan, Acting Director of National Intelligence Joseph McGuire, FBI Director Christopher Wray, NSA Director General Paul Nakasone, something like that, and Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, Director Christopher Krebs, claimed that foreign interference in 2020 was imminent, despite admitting that there is no evidence of interference taking place. What is interference, though? Is it a foreign nation buying ads for one president candidate or presidential candidate or another? Or is it the billions of dollars given to these candidates on both sides? Went too far. They say our adversaries want to undermine our democratic institutions, influence public sentiment, and affect government policies. Russia, China, Iran, and other foreign malicious actors will all seek to interfere in the voting process or influence voter perception. This coming from people who have voting machines that are rigged. You see, the American public has a lot more to worry about within their own government than they do any foreign government. While Dave Hodges and a couple of others are raising alarm bells about China and the possibility that they engineered a bioweapon specifically for the races in the United States, whether it's true or not, our government's reaction is still a bigger threat to you. So here it is. I do cover scary things, okay? And I'm not saying that I don't. However, I am not trying to sway you from one party to another. I am not trying to influence your choice. I am flat out telling you that both choices are bad. Both choices end the same way. While one might hasten the process and the other may slow it, the end is still the same. In addition to the reports that have cast the involvement of state actors, namely Russia, Iran, and China, as assured despite no evidence, other reports have made claim that this allegedly imminent interference will inevitably be successful, largely due to claims that the tactics used will rely heavily on technology that the U.S. can't hope to succeed or successfully counter. CSO Online, an online news outlet that provides news, analysis, and research on security and risk management, recently warned that fixing America's voting and election infrastructure problems is a long-term proposition, one that won't be fixed in time for the election in November. While the New York Times warned of imminent chaos and that stealthier, malevolent foreign actors had already created the foundations for an ugly campaign season marred by hacking and disinformation. And Wired claimed last year the U.S. election security is still hurting at every level. Every level. So, yes, I do cover the coronavirus. Yes, I do cover dirty politicians. Yes, I do cover the extreme corruption of our military, pharmaceutical, prison, industrial complexes. Oh, let's not forget the police industrial complex. I am not here pushing you to buy shit that will be inevitably either taken from you by the government or somebody else. That is, if you're unable to defend against the takers. I'm done with the article. All right. So, I have nothing to sell you. Again, once more. I'm not trying to make money off you. I have no conflict of interest whatsoever. I'm a outsider looking in. And yes, I am an outsider. I may be born in America. I may have lived here all my life. But I am not delusion like 90% of the rest of the public. At least 90%. There exists in me no cognitive dissonance. Now, I really like high impact flicks. I really do. I like Brian a lot. You can tell he's probably a very kind person. All right? So I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. But he has a little bit of a problem himself. All right? And the problem is he wants to solve our nation's politician, corrupt cop, and overzealous laws. He wants to fight these things. He wants to combat them with, what was it, honey and love, or love and honey, something like that. Well, the problem with this point of view, is the government and these agencies are filled with people who have no problem whatsoever killing you or caging you. They have no problem whatsoever inflicting violence upon you, stealing from you. And the types of people who gravitate to these types of positions, politicians and control freaks, they tend to be on the sociopathic, psychopathic level of things. Meaning, a lot of them are sociopaths and psychopaths. And they are all concentrated within our government and law enforcement agencies. Now, just a reasonable question. How do you fight people? How do you fight people who have zero problem, no remorse about inflicting theft, violence, extortion, and kidnapping upon you? Do you think giving them a hug is going to save you from whatever they choose to inflict on you? Do you believe that? Look, don't be like the rest of America. Don't be filled with contradicting beliefs. You need to shed these beliefs. You need to get rid of them. They are only harming you. They're keeping you from seeing the reality at hand. And this reality is not as sugar-coated as people would like you to think. You make a wrong move with the police, they kill you. You break the law written by a politician, they will come to your home. If they don't kill you or assault you, they will cage you. And we can see this very thing unfolding in Virginia. This very thing where the Virginia government continuously tramples on the Second Amendment rights of their citizens. And people thought protesting outside the Capitol would stop it. But I hate to tell you, they had many other bills right behind it. All they're doing is wearing out the public, and then as soon as the public is wore out and tired of the protesting, and ready to comply, they will make millions of Virginians into criminals. Just like that. Just by the signature of a governor and votes in their house. I wonder how many law-abiding citizens are going to be kidnapped, murdered, assaulted, and caged. I wonder. And I wonder what state is next. Thought I would talk to you about this because you cannot fight serial killers, sociopaths, psychopaths with love and honey. What it takes is blood, sweat, and tears. Till next time, till the state live free.